We have some big news to go over today as the Toronto Blue Jays have made a very intriguing signing as they have signed a pitcher. We're going to break down exactly who that is and discuss what this means going forward for the Jays. But also, we have multiple big injury updates surrounding the Toronto Blue Jays, including one that not only is very intriguing, but has huge implications going forward as soon as Tuesday, folks. You're going to want to stay tuned for that. We also have a few other updates, including one specific thing in particular that no one is talking about that I want to bring up to all of you today, folks. Before we get into it all, if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jays content. You guys have been absolute beasts, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. And thank you guys again for continued support, folks. Jays coming off of a brutal loss in yesterday's game. It is what it is, right? You lose, you put up 5 runs, you have Jonathan Clase hit a home run. It is what it is. You're not going to be able to win every game. This series against the Chicago White Sox, not Boston Red Sox, Chicago White Sox, is going to be absolutely crucial. And it will be very smart of them to win 3 games and sweep the series. But let's start with the signing. Now, folks, this kind of went under the radar here, and it is an interesting one. So bear with me. The Jays have signed a minor league pitcher, but this is a reliever, Griff Hughes. He finished 2024 in independent ball with the Evansville Otters and returned this year. He posted a 2.89 ERA with 28 Ks in 18 and 2/3 innings pitched. He reports to the Florida Complex League. Guys, the reason that I find this very interesting, Griff Hughes is extremely young. He has a lot of potential here. And looking at some of, his, film and stats and things like that, he is a very capable left-handed reliever. And following what the Jays have done over the past few years, especially even as recent as this year with Eric Lauer. I mean, last year, a bunch of different guys who, get signed and, we don't really think too much of it. And then boom, they make a very, very solid, contribution. I have faith that this player at some point will be useful to the bullpen. Let's look at some of his stats now. Of course, he's played 4 years in college. He's only 23 years old. It's not like he's a 30-year-old reliever like the Eric Lauer signing was. And he was a starter, of course. He's never played in the MLB, but this is a prospect, folks, and he has a 2.89 ERA in 13 games of relief. But even last year, a 3.07 ERA in 44 innings of relief. Like, his stuff plays. And of course, this is going to go under the radar because most people are talking at this moment about the Blue Jays big league club and things like that. Getting left-handed relievers, they're not a dime a dozen. They're pretty hard to get, especially effective ones. And just keep an eye out on Griff Hughes. It's always difficult to get lefties. He's been fantastic since 2023. I mean, never had an ERA above 4 or even, approaching 4. Very, very good this year. Very solid last year. Are his advanced numbers looking the best? Not necessarily. But again, it is what it is. He is going to be reporting the Florida Complex League, and you put him in the lab with Pete Walker and things like that. They have, revived a lot of lefties' careers. Think about Brendan Little. They got Brendan Little in a trade for cash considerations, folks, and then Brendan Little's now been one of the best relievers in the MLB, struggling as of late, but a bit better than, way better than everyone would have thought. Maybe this is another similar situation for Griff Hughes, who's younger than Brendan Little and has a chance here to be a contributor. I mean, it might be this year. It could be next year into the future, but this is one that no one's really talking about, but trust me, there's a good chance that we're going to see him in the big leagues again this year or even into the future because of the way that this team has developed, not necessarily prospect pitchers as much and prospects in general, but boy, oh boy, have they developed their, random flyers. So wanted to bring it up. No one's really talking about it. A very interesting signing. Let me know down below what your thoughts are, but let's also dive into one player in particular as well. We have a bunch of updates on. So let's talk about Max Scherzer. Now, of course, this happened a couple days ago. We know he had his AAA start. He was really, really good. His early velocity was sitting around 93, touching 94. Good news, especially if he holds it there. He ended up striking out, I believe, the side in the second inning. Regardless, the big thing was how he felt yesterday, and we had a plethora of updates. And this is the big one from Ben Nicholson-Smith. Max Scherzer is expected to join the Blue Jays soon. Thumb sore as expected after 75 pitches. He'll throw a bullpen in Toronto this weekend, setting up a possible start versus the Guardians next week. Nothing official, but trending well. And of course, as things become official, we will keep you up to date every step of the way. But it seems like he's going to be joining the Blue Jays soon. And this is very good news. Very, very good news. Now, the targeted date we would assume is Tuesday against the Cleveland Guardians. Of course, they have a series against the White Sox right now, starting today. You need to sweep that series, right? And really put yourself towards the AL East spot. But regardless, we saw, in yesterday's game, Gosman was really bad. He's been struggling as of late. You have Eric Lauer looking really good, but the starting rotation is a complete mess right now. But everything sounds okay coming out of Max Scherzer's start. Now, there is something else to note here. He did have some expected soreness, and some fans were a little bit concerned about that. We don't know for sure how sore this thumb is. It could be tomorrow, and it could look a lot more sore than initially thought. It could be very good. It seems like, according to BNS, that he's going to be starting on Tuesday. That's what we heard in the broadcast, as we also have been hearing around the team. Tuesday against the Guardians would be the assumed start. Now, of course, it lines them up in a very interesting spot because you have Gosse not playing well. Eric Lauer, you would assume, has earned another start. You also assume that, Scherzer will go. How many innings will he be able to go? 70, 75 pitches, four, maybe 5 innings if you're lucky. Like, it's a little bit scary. And you look at the probables for the series. Today, it has been confirmed that Spencer Turnbull from Arizona is starting in tonight's game. So you have Spencer Turnbull going against the White Sox. Pretty good. You have José Berríos going up against Aaron Savali, newly acquired. And then Chris Bassett going up against whoever. You need to absolutely pummel the Chicago White Sox. It needs to happen. Just curb stomp them because you are going to have a tougher schedule, of course, after the White Sox, but you also now have a chance to continue to build up the lead in the wild card spot. And we're going to dive into an interesting stat here, I guess the schedule in a minute, but not the Jays schedule, a very interesting, schedule that no one's really talking about, at least on the Jays side of things. We'll dive into it in a second here. But again, the White Sox probables here, we have Turnbull starting tonight, and then I have faith in Bassett and Berríos, the two best pitchers on this team. So let me know down below your thoughts on Scherzer. He's going to be coming back, and a return seems imminent at this point. I'm sure we'll get updates every single day, including tonight during, the game from John Schneider, or before the game and after the game, and we'll keep you up to date. I do believe ultimately Scherzer's going to be starting on Tuesday. We'll see if my prediction comes true. But speaking of Miles Straw, he's not going to be hitting the IL. He is feeling much better. He hasn't played the past couple games. We've been seeing Will Robertson and Jonathan Clase. Wouldn't be surprised if Clase gets another start here in this series, maybe even tonight. Of course, him being the switch hitter, he can start versus righties and lefties. But folks, I want to dive into a couple things here. This is very interesting to me. Now, we've been talking about how important this series is, right? And of course, we're going up against the Chicago White Sox. I keep mixing those two up. The Chicago White Sox, one team way worse than the other. And you look at the Jays' playoff odds, right? And you see the Jays now have a 63.2% chance before yesterday's loss to make the playoffs, according to Fangraphs. And you see the Yankees at 93.9. The reason I want to bring this up, the Jays have an extremely golden opportunity here to make a strong push. This is not the Jays' schedule. This is the Yankees' schedule in the month of July. It is an absolute gauntlet. And if you are the Toronto Blue Jays, not only can you make a push alongside the Rays, but make a push to make win the AL East, you can really make up ground here. Now, it starts in July against the Jays. So the Jays host the Yankees rather, at home. July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, of course, Canada Day, all those different things. You got to win that series. But on the Yankees side of things, you're going up against the Mets, the Mariners, the Cubs, All-Star break, the Braves, the Jays again, the Phillies, and the Rays. All fantastic teams. Every single one of them are fantastic, at least have the ability to be fantastic and have been fantastic for most of the year. The New York Yankees are in the toughest part of the schedule. The Jays face that month 1, month 2, and they're going to face it again in September. The Jays now, and again, is it too early to scoreboard watch? Maybe, but these games matter a lot. We saw what happened in 2021. We've seen what happened in the past. You had to take advantage now of the easy schedule ahead. You sweep the White Sox. The Yankees are going to have a tough schedule, and then you're hosting the Yankees in the start of July anyways. This is the golden opportunity for the Toronto Blue Jays team to really make up ground, and I truly believe they're going to be able to do so. And again, this is the Yankees' schedule, and it's going to be a tough one, and hopefully the Jays can start it all tonight against, of course, TBA for the White Sox, and Spencer Turnbull has been confirmed to start tonight. But let me know down below what your thoughts are. 63% chance to make the playoffs for the Jays. We'll take it. You got to continue to put the foot on the gas. And ladies and gentlemen, the Yankees are in for a rough go here for all you looking at the AL East crown. But ladies and gentlemen, that'll wrap it up. You guys are beasts. Cheers.